The suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians, and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
One of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
I got weed pots.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another week of Stoned Appetit with your host, as always, it's me, Kip. To my left, I got old CB sipping on a cocktail. How are you, brother?
Doing all right, kind of getting ready for this fantasy football draft I got tonight.
Hell,
that time of year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I like where your head's at because we're doing a little draft tonight, and we figured, we had a lot of good feedback and ideas for the last high five battle. So this week we're going strictly one themed high five battle, and then we're going to roll in that little conversation or debate into this week's episode with our sponsors and guests of the week. So rather than doing a Seed & Smith interview advertisement, they are the fucking advertisement. We had a good time with those guys last week. They opened the new location up in Louisville. It's a good time. Anything you want to comment before we get into that episode?
No, it's just full of laughs. We had to do take two on that one due to all the laughs.
Dude, it was so bad. Yeah, we definitely had a couple takes in there and a lot of edits. So stick with us. But before we get started, Chris and I's episode this week, we have a high five presented to you. Best sushi spots in Denver, but it is going to be broken down into categories, so it's not just blanket sushi. Before we get into that, we want to give it a shout out to our friends over at Cali's Cannabis. As y'all hear us say all the time, we do enjoy everything about that shop. We hit up the one on 31st and Larimer, but they have 3 locations across the city. They have one on 8th and Kenosha Court, as well as one up in Northglenn. And then they have a rewards program that's just fantastic. You get points for every dollar you spend, as well as they have daily deals every day of the week. So no matter what you're on the vibe for, they've got something for you. Just find your day that hits best, or hit them up a couple times. Just take advantage of it. But without further ado, we have a new week of Stoned Appetit. All right, Chris, so before we get started, highlight of the weekend that you had?
I want to say that ties into what we're about to talk about.
Oh, is it? Okay, so Chris's highlight is also going to talk about from our sushi adventures this weekend. So
yeah, we had a pretty.
You tipped your hand a little bit. I know where your high five is going.
I had a pretty casual weekend, getting ready for the upcoming weekend and the holiday weekend that is Fish Dicks.
Dude, yeah. So we were debating between doing best live music venues in Denver or maybe doing another street, but we wanted to mix it up. So we're doing genres tonight. And, yeah, it's going to be a mega weekend this weekend, and we'll talk about that on Thursday's episode of what's to look ahead for. But tonight's sushi high five, Chris. You're going to lead us off, but there's 5 criteria. We've got a date night. We've got sleeper sushi spots in town. We've got your hand roll favorites in town, the happy hour that you like, and then a neighborhood spot. And whatever you start with, you go first, and we'll snake back through. So this will be a promotion of free sushi spots.
Okay. I'll start with the one I was alluding to earlier, which is where we went this Friday evening. We'll go with single rolls.
Hand rolls,
yeah. And we're talking Park Hill Sushi. I guess it was my first time there this weekend, and I believe they have a couple other locations.
Yeah, so they have a location in Berkeley Park up near the Highlands. I think it's at 44th and Utica, and then they have one called Cherry Hill Sushi Co. So it's the Sushi Co. group. But yeah, Berkeley Park, Park Hill,
yeah,
Cherry Hill.
Yeah, I loved it because it's small. There's not a big menu, so what they've got is going to be really good. Also, they had a crazy sake and beer list. I really enjoyed looking at their beer list, and then we did the sake flight, which was awesome.
Yeah, so that place has a killer deal, and they go till 9 or 10 p.m. every night. They have them all kind of peppered through the neighborhoods, but it's hand rolls only as well as sashimi. So they have like a chili crisp tuna that's also fucking delicious. So that's a really good 1A pick for hand rolls.
Yeah.
I like where your head's at there.
And definitely, if you're thinking about going, though, maybe you call ahead and get a reservation just because they are kind of tinier and just,
It is very intimate setting, but at the same time it is, they open at 4, so call ahead and get your reservation, but usually they can take care of you for same day.
Yeah.
But if you are a worrier, then call ahead earlier in the week for later in the weekend. That's a good call. All right. So we're going hand rolls first. And so if you're doing hand rolls, I'm going to go with Tamaki inside of the Source. What was formerly the Rhino Yacht Club, shout out to them. They open up. They're doing a soft opening at Death & Co. on 9-2. But Tamaki is I guess it's like split off of the Sushi Den group, and one of the brothers is running a hand roll operation over there with also just like some flat fish and Wagyu. It is exceptional, Chris. They have a late night happy hour as well. I've snuck in there on a Sunday night later in the evening. You can get discount hand rolls, and they kind of do the same thing where it's a no frills, it's not too many options, 4 or 5 different variations, and you get them in the hand roll packages. So there's 3, 4, 5 in a row. I like it. I like where your head's at. So that's a good call.
And that's how late do they open?
I think they're open till like 10 or so. They may even be open late, but I know that they have a late night happy hour that pops.
Nice.
Yeah, at least till 9 or so. All right, so we did that. So we're going to go into date night. No. We'll go into happy hour.
Because it is that hour.
Yeah.
While we're doing this.
For happy hour, I was down between 2, but I think I got to give the nod to the one that is truly banging, and that's Uchi. It was between that and I think everybody knows. Yeah, possibly. Okay. But I was between 2, so I wasn't sure which one to go with. And so I went with the Uchi. It's 4 to 6:30. It's a great deal. It's not bad at all.
Yeah. The tough thing, and I think that's a great deal because you get really good prices. But the only thing about that, man, is you have to be at that door. Mm-hmm. You have to be in the line. Like, if you're hanging out in Rhino and you can get over there around 3:30 just to check it out or something, or just get up there by 1:45 to get in line because if you don't get a spot.
That is true. It's not an easily come by. Like, if you can grab one of those tables like 2 weeks in advance, be like, this is the day I'm spending $85 on happy hour sushi, then that is the time to do it. But otherwise, the walk-in option is I don't even know if
they don't
I
take
think they
like
have
resis
resis
for happy hour. It's just like you got to walk in.
Really? Okay, so if it is just walk-in, it may be a little more precarious. But
yeah.
I feel like last time we were there, we had the ability to. We had a table for us.
Yeah, maybe.
But maybe not.
Yeah, maybe somebody else knows more than we do. But I remember when I went, I thought it was like you go up to the bar. Like I sat at the bar when I went, but I was definitely in line out there at like right before it opened to get in.
Yeah.
So okay. I don't know.
Yeah, but for right reasons. 2.5 hour happy hour. It fucking slays. Y'all can hear the dogs in the background, and it's a great way to avoid busting a full bag open at the fucking table, which is sushi dinner at Uchi. And it's in Rhino, so you get out there early, you can get a cocktail over at Dana's place.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what you got?
All right,
happy hour.
This spot's also in the Rhino area, which might have been your number 2.
Yeah.
Sushi Rama.
Yeah.
And, that's a great happy hour spot. There's deals on drinks and then stuff that's going on the belt, so it's a fun spot if you're around there looking around, like just hanging out in Rhino, pretty casual, and you want to see what's on the beltway.
Yeah, 25% off everything on the belt is a fucking steal. And really you can sit there and kind of eat at your own pace. So you're like, oh, that looks good, I'll grab that, and you come away looking a little bit friendlier in costs.
Yeah.
So you'll definitely come out of there feeling like you got your money's worth at a happy hour.
And it's our buddy.
Yeah, I love Jeff Osaka. So Jeff and the crew over at Sushi Rama are great. Shout out to Annie and the team too. All right, so next one up, Chris. We've done happy hour. We've done hand rolls. We've done the H's. What's the next one?
Let's go neighborhood spot really quick.
All right, go. What's your neighborhood spot?
All right, well, as you all know, home base here is in the Colfax area. So I'm actually going to go with Okinawa, and it's right off of Colfax and York, and it's right there. It's on the same like block as Tacos Tequila Whiskey. So you got two good options right there, but we're talking about sushi today. And I mean, it's your basic sushi restaurant, but they've got good deals. They're open for lunch as well. But it's easy to get to. It's in our neighborhood, and I've had really good sushi there.
Yeah, it is kind of, and when I said no frills earlier about other locations, this is more of like just the casual sushi spot. You know, the one that's easiest to walk to and things of that neighborhood. I don't hate it. You kind of get exactly what you pay for. You don't ask too much of it. You're not going to get out, like it's fine. It does exactly what you're asking for, and I don't hate that pick. I oftentimes have hit an Okinawa on a master dating situation, and I don't hate sitting in the corner ordering a couple rolls and just going about my business. It's not a bad spot. But for my location, just to mix up neighborhoods, to give a little spice, I'm using Morgan's neighborhood where I spend a fair amount of my time, and I'm going to Old Town Arvada. There's this little place called Namaki, which is located inside of a strip mall across from Sam's Club, right off of Wadsworth exit in Old Town, our Arvada area. It's called Namaki. You wouldn't know it from the outside, but you walk in, and the place is fucking gorgeous, Chris. They've redone the place. I don't know when, but it looks like it's very well decorated in light blues, dark blues, aqua-themed, sharks hanging from the ceiling, and the sushi doesn't suck. So it's kind of like a vibe. It's fun to go in there. And again, the sushi doesn't suck. It's not necessarily the greatest. You're not beating the doors down to get in there at 4 o'clock like we were talking about the earlier one. But Namaki and Arvada, I like it. It's cheap, it's friendly, and the people are always kind. So shout out to those guys as mine. This next location, though, it's up to me, I believe. So we've done happy hour, hand roll, neighborhood spot. We're rolling into the sleepers. And I'm going with one that's been around, but it's a different neighborhood, and it's one that I've had to drive to until they opened their second location. So they've recently gained more notoriety in the last year or two. But that's Taki. And Taki was down there off Bayard or whatever you want to call it, near the Wash Park area. But it's located literally right behind a fucking liquor store. And it's just a little hole-in-the-wall Asian spot. They are slaying it. They have some very creative fusion dishes, ones that would be unbeknownst to anybody else. And then they also have some very fresh fish.
That's been around for a minute, too. Because I remember, I think our friend Loki, she introduced me to that place.
Yeah, so it's fucking delicious. And then they have a little roll with the spicy sauce and some caviar on top. So they play to everybody's likings in both traditional and kind of forward progressive thinking stuff. I dig it, and it doesn't break the banking cost. So that's my sleeper spot of the week for my high five, Chris. What you got?
I'm not sure what I got in terms of sleepers. Because I don't have anything that's like crazy wowing me that I think you should know about. Well, I mean, like, I guess in our neighborhood, Sushi Ronin just opened up, which is kind of like in our neighborhood. But I actually can't remember when I was last there, so I can't say much about it.
Yeah, I mean, that one is kind of it's a good sleeper spot because Congress Park is kind of a quieter area.
Yeah.
And then their first location's kind of bunkered in there behind L5, but they seem to have done well enough to where they could open a second one.
Oh, okay. I was trying to think of we've been there several times. I think we had a birthday there, somebody in one of those rooms.
That one we've done.
Okay. Yeah, that's good sushi.
So that's not a bad one. Okay, I like that sleeper, and it kind of makes me remember about Congress Park, which I oftentimes forget except for Blue Pan over there. So there's a lot more going on in that corner than I would have thought. Okay, so the last topic are the last of the five for this week's High Five. Sushi, brought to you or presented by Callie's Cannabis. If you have if you're looking for the munchies, the friends over at Callie's will get you where you're trying to go. And before we get to Seed and Smith, we want to give a quick shout out to their new